understand. I just want to say that I'm so sorry. All my people are getting attacked. The children. I don't understand. I'm so sorry. I wish I could do something, but I can't. I don't know what to do. I'll try everything, I promise.
I'm already heartbroken myself, and I can't really imagine little kids whose families are breaking apart because of this.
Immigration raids are being carried out across the U.S. right now, and there's new video of arrests being made in multiple states. Yesterday, ICE officials say that nearly 1,000 people were taken into custody.
I'm talking to sources and advocacy organizations, attorneys here in the city, and they tell me that there is panic in this community because of the ICE enforcements that are happening. We are learning today some of the stories of the individuals who were picked up yesterday by immigration authorities. The first story that we're learning from is CNN affiliate WLS. This is in a northern suburb. A woman says that her father was picked up by ICE after ICE knocked on his door and then arrested him. This is a man who's 44 years old. He's a grandfather, and he arrived here from Mexico 30 years ago.
People, not even Selena Gomez's tears is stopping the Trump deportation machine right now. This machine is rolling in every nook and cranny in the American landscape. This machine wants to get people out. People, tell me what you think. Is this extreme, or is Trump fulfilling what he said during his campaign? Drop your comments. Tell me what you think.
Prayer aimed to calm the fear that fills this north suburban church.
For them to just take like that.
It's where Yelitza Marquina fights through her pain and tears after she says her father, Andres Marquina, was arrested from his Waukegan home early Sunday morning by immigration and customs enforcement agents. She says the 44-year-old grandfather came to the U.S. from Mexico nearly 30 years ago.
They won't open the door because they thought maybe one of us were in trouble or something happened to us. He never did anything that would have been nice.
Yulitza, who was born in the U.S., is one of many people now seeking legal help at Pastor Julie Contreras' place of worship.
I had a 4-year-old crying, fearing deportation. That is not making America great again.
Authorizing ICE to target schools and churches is a very dangerous game, and I can't imagine a world where I'm friends with people who would give up children and families to ICE. So if you're one of those people that would speak to an ICE agent or be cooperative with an ICE agent, I'm gonna need you to immediately remove yourself from my social medias and also from my life.
So I've been seeing on this app updates that ICE can now raid schools. And if ICE tries to raid schools, take any of my students, take anchor babies, let me tell you what I'm going to do. I'm not going to do nothing. I'm not going to do nothing at all. I'm not going to fight a federal agency or federal laws on your children's behalf. I'm not going to risk going to jail and losing my livelihood on behalf of you or your children, because who would take care of mine? And I'm seeing that a lot of Black women are not understanding how to take off the cape. And that's because we've been wearing it so long and just flying that cape so high that we really can't separate ourselves from that role. I will not be doing anything that could potentially negatively impact this household, me, or my children, including protecting yours. The things that this administration said were going to happen are happening. And how we tried to help was pointing out to you that these particular things were going to be counterproductive to your own physical safety, health, wellness, and financial situations. And you know what Gen Pop said? Gen Pop said, that's fine. We hate Black women so much, we're willing to risk that. So now that it's here, as a Black woman, a person who's already in a marginalized group, I cannot do anything to help you without putting myself at risk of more marginalization, the kind that they already said was going to happen. So what am I going to do? Absolutely nothing.
What do you think about what she just said? She said she's focusing on her. She can't really take up other people's responsibility. She has her bills to pay. This deportation is literally pitting people against each other. It reminds me of Big C, COVID. Because people just really start to think about the individual.
Franklin, look at papi. Franklin, tinggal. Biar kamu hati mami. Sana ba papi? Papi.
They are rounding up kids right before they turn into the school. I'm in Chicagoland area. I'm about an hour outside of Chicago, and one of the schools that I pass by every day is known to be a Hispanic majority school. They are stopping these kids, because a lot of them drive, it's a high school. They are stopping these kids right before they turn into the school to round them up. The shit already started. It's sad to see, but at the same time, it's like, damn. Like, because I think the school grounds is off limits. They can't get them while they're in the school. So these police officers are lined up right and catching these kids right before they turn into the motherfucking school. I know they are horrified. But in the area that I live in, a lot of the Hispanics that are over here are Trump supporters. They're very proud about it. They're very machismo. And a lot of the high schoolers pump that same shit. It's just like, it's a shame that it has to be all of them. He's 100% doing it. It is happening. It is not even 9 o'clock in the morning yet. The is going down. My God.
No matter which way you swing it, this deportation is traumatizing children. It is separating families. And honestly, it's not a good thing, although he promised that what he was going to do. And I'm going to go out on a limb here. It's very traumatic when you separate children from their families. And if you can look back during the slavery days when children were literally separated from their parents, mother never had control of her children, father couldn't assert himself because what happened? Slaves were a commodity back then, and it was traumatic for parents and children. And we could say in many ways, the traumatic and the psychological effect is still here today. As some scholars would say that Black people are still going through what you call PTSD, post-traumatic slavery disorder. So let me know what you think the trauma these families are going through because of this deportation.
Ahí viene la migra, la migra, la migra.
DHS is officially rescinding the restrictions that kept ICE agents from conducting arrests in sensitive locations such as schools, churches, and daycare centers. What does that mean?
That's right. So this is something we reported on shortly after the election. Didi Martinez and I were hearing that this was something in the works by the transition. They want to completely take the handcuffs off ICE agents, as they say, meaning allow them to make arrests anywhere. Previously, under the Obama first Trump administration and Biden administrations, ICE had by and large left alone anyone who might be at a church or any house of worship of any faith, a hospital trying to get health care, or any kind of educational facility, a daycare center, a school, a college, for example. That was not a place where ICE was going to carry out arrest unless there was some reason, a law enforcement reason. There was someone who they thought would put the public in danger if they didn't arrest them right then. It also pertained to large gatherings, funerals, weddings, but also protests. If you think about people trying to come out for a large rally for a pathway to citizenship, by and large, that wouldn't be a place where ICE would go and make arrests. But now that's rescinded.
Just on Friday, 3 of my parents said that they were not sending their kids to school anymore because they're afraid.
Undocumented families across the country are feeling fear and worry after the Trump administration announced it would allow agencies to make immigration arrests at schools, churches, and hospitals, ending a policy that had been in place since 2011. This weekend, Fort Worth ISD says a substitute teacher commented on an X post calling for ICE to raid Northside High School. It says in part, quote, "I have so many students who don't even speak English. They have to communicate through their iPhone translator with me. The government should overhaul the Texas school system." Fort Worth ISD says the district is investigating the post, and per district protocol, the employee is not allowed on campus during the investigation.
And so when you start saying, come raid our school, you're talking about the majority of children in our schools in Texas are Latino. And so you just can't make assumptions.
In a letter to parents and staff, Fort Worth ISD Interim Superintendent Karen Molinar tried to ease concerns by sharing that the district does not ask students or families about immigration status, and student privacy is protected by law. A protest in Fort Worth on Sunday called for the protection of children in North Texas schools. A third-grade teacher in Fort Worth ISD says her students are afraid to come to class.
Yes, just on Friday, 3 of my parents said that they were not sending their kids to school anymore because they're afraid.
A fear Jeanette Martinez says an 8-year-old shouldn't have.
They don't know. They don't know all this is evil, and they're just trying to get an education. Children should not be afraid. They should not.
Sanborn agrees the kids should stay out of it.
Yes, let's solve immigration, but let's not really worry kids any more than they need to be worried.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Please drop your comments so we can dig in and engage more on this sensitive topic.
Do you think that the undocumented immigrants that were detained in Bakersfield, California a week or so ago would have gone to work if they knew that these immigration raids were going to happen on that day? No, I don't think they would. We already know when the ICE immigration raids are going to happen here in Chicago. They've given us a time frame. Now, I don't trust the mass media. They're saying that it's going to begin Tuesday, January 21st. Originally, I had heard that these ICE raids in Chicago were going to begin on Trump's inauguration day, Monday, January 20th. And if anything, Trump's been campaigning on the fact that he would start these massive immigration raids on his first day in office. So plan for it happening on Monday. Now let's talk about Chicago and its responsibility as a sanctuary city. Now, one, do I think that the mayor or any of these representatives are going to do anything to really protect our most vulnerable, undocumented immigrant community here in Chicago? No, I don't think they are. It's all political theater. It really depends on you, me, all of the allies, people that understand that immigrants are what make Chicago, and not just Chicago, but our entire country, what it is today. So what can we be doing? Well, let's disrupt some stuff. How about nobody goes to work this week? Call off sick, everybody. If you own a restaurant and you know that your back end staff are undocumented people, how about you let them take this week off with pay? How about we disrupt Chicago's restaurant week? It's supposed to start on Friday. How is Chicago's restaurant week going to function if our most vulnerable community members, the undocumented immigrants in this city, don't feel safe? Let's shut it all down. If you're an ally, if you work in the restaurant, the entertainment industry, everybody call off sick if you work in any of these fields that depend on immigrants. And for all those that claim that this is just fear-mongering, no, it's not. We saw what happened in Bakersfield, California. And guess what? They didn't just target undocumented people. They also detained American citizens until they were able to prove that they were American citizens. That's racial profiling. And guess what? I'm praying and advocating for even those people that voted against their interests. So we have a very limited amount of time to get this going, but let's shut Chicago down. Let's protect our most vulnerable members in this city, and let's show the world what a sanctuary city does to protect its community members, its neighbors.
What happens when your country of birth does not accept you and you have a removal order from the United States? Technically, you're supposed to be placed on what is called order of supervision, where you go frequently to do what's called a check-in with ERO, enforcement and removal operations. Think of it as an immigration probation office where you go to make sure that you don't have any additional crimes, you haven't violated the terms of being released on order of supervision, and they run background check on you and make sure that your address is up to date and all of your biographic information is up to date. You can also be asked to make a request to random countries to see whether or not they will accept you. And you document your efforts in asking those countries if they will accept you to go live there, and then what the response is from those countries. You can have people on order of supervision check-ins for years. I have clients that are in OSUP check-ins for the last 15, 20, 25 years. The most common country that does not accept people who have removal orders are Cubans and Vietnamese. This is also because there is a special agreement between the United States and Vietnam for Vietnamese that have entered the United States during a specific time period. They cannot be deported to their country, even if they've committed crimes or lose their lawful permanent resident status.
I have to say this. Is there a double standard? Are the Ukrainians and the Vietnamese getting the same treatment like the Latinos? Let's reason it. Is there a bias here?
I'm here with Tom Homan. We've just landed in Arizona. We're headed to the border. We're going to talk to the guys and find out what's going on for real.
We're 47 days out from inauguration. We're not waiting. Game on today.
What do you think we're going to see?
I think we're going to see exactly what this administration has done to the most secure border in my lifetime. And we're going to develop plans today to help these sheriffs make their community safer and secure the border once again.
These are some brave men and women down here working hard, so we're going to hear what they have to say.
Obviously, some ICE agents raided a business in our city without a warrant. They went in the back of the establishment. We believe that there were 3 people who they say were undocumented that they detained, but they also detained folks that were, in fact, citizens of this country. One person showed their military veteran identification and was still questioned anyway. People were fingerprinted. Pictures of their IDs and face were taken there. When I got this information, I was appalled, upset, angry that this would happen here in this state, in this country, that this would be allowed. Since we said something about it, I convened my folks. I said, we can't just let this happen and not say anything.
Okay, guys, a lot of folks are getting detained by ICE right now, and this is what you need to know. If you are picked up by ICE, you'll be transferred to an ICE facility. If you're in Georgia, that'll be the Stewart Detention Center. It's about 3 hours away. You'll need to present a motion for bond. You'll need to speak to a lawyer. That lawyer needs to prepare a motion with evidence such as good moral character evidence, physical presence. If you have a criminal history, you need to present the entire criminal history to the lawyer for them to analyze it. You'll also need to get a complete copy of your medical records, right? So all this evidence needs to be presented to the judge. The judge will schedule a hearing where you will need to appear at this hearing and beg for the judge to give you an immigration bond, because if they don't, it's very difficult to win a case, right, while you're detained. So please get all these documents in order now, just in case, because we're having a lot of issues with our clients that are detained, and they're calling us now and they can't get these documents for us. So it gets very complicated.
I'm warning you guys right now. These immigration raids are not about deportation. They are about for-profit enslavement. Yesterday, the Laken-Riley Act was passed, and what that act does in part is it makes it easier for federal immigration agents to detain people they suspect to be here illegally, even for just petty offenses. That, in combination with the rolled back federal protections for schools, hospitals, and churches all across this country, and in further conjunction with all of the immigration raids that started day one under this new administration, what you get is a massive number of people that we cannot possibly hold in federal detention centers. So where do they go? For-profit prisons is where they're going to end up. And you know who is investing a lot of money right now in for-profit prisons? Our senators, our congresspeople, the people voting for the Laken-Riley Act. And if you take it a step further, when you realize that you are making money off of the detention of these people, you're going to lessen your incentive to actually deport them. You combine that with the other convenient fact that the people we're rounding up support the agricultural and construction industries in this company, we're going to have a labor crisis. But where could we find some cheap labor that's already here that we're already making money off of? You guessed it, those pesky migrants. So now we're going to make them work for dirt cheap, doing the jobs they were already doing while also profiting off of their existence by detaining them in for-profit companies. All the while, our governmental representatives are the ones that benefit.
Is this guy correct? I never thought of that. I didn't look at the financial side of it. But come to think of it, there's a lot of credit to his argument. On that note, thank you for watching again. Drop your comments and I will see you in the next video, because this deportation, it's tough.
This is what you need to know about protecting your undocumented students while they're in school if you are an educator or school employee of any kind. First off, if you believe that ICE should be able to enter schools and detain children, go ahead and block me, or if I see you in the comments, I will block you. My current understanding, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I've just been doing research this morning, is that there are 3 layers of protection. 1, Trump is actively trying to get rid of. Another one is dependent on your state and district. The third one should hold true. First off, there's a sensitive locations policy, which does prohibit ICE from entering schools without a judicial warrant, and also should prevent them from conducting enforcement outside of schools or nearby schools. That means technically they should not be able to arrest parents who are dropping off their kids at school, though there have been documented instances of them doing just that. This sensitive locations policy falls under a Supreme Court case called Plyler versus Doe, but unfortunately, Trump is planning on actively undermining it. That means under a Trump presidency, it is very likely that ICE will be able, at the federal level, to enter schools and to conduct enforcement outside of schools. However, this is where we get to protection number 2, and this is why it is so important that you know your state and your district. This is my district. I work at CPS, and you can see right here the commitments that my district has made to families. CPS has specifically said it will not allow ICE agents to access CPS facilities without a judicial warrant. I'm so grateful to be in a city and in a district that is taking a stand. But like I said, you really need to figure out what your district is doing to know what is allowable. The third protection is FERPA, which is the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. I really doubt this will go anywhere. While this does not prevent ICE from entering schools, it does mean that schools cannot report any personally identifiable information to federal agencies. That means that schools cannot report a student's immigration status to ICE. There are a few exemptions outlined here, but for the most part, this should hold true. If anyone ever asks you about the legal status of a student, you say, FERPA does not allow me to share that information with you. Please let me know if I missed anything or said anything wrong. I know things are changing by the day at this point. I'm really terrified, but I feel like we just have to stay informed as educators.
Sun is shining.